Welcome to the show, guys. I'm going to do a walkthrough on a pump off, and this is one of my. I'm not going to say it's my favorite spot, but it's one of my favorite. And I've got a few. I got a few shorts that have been based around this spot and everything, and I've talked about it before. But let's just talk a little bit about what I'm doing. By mistake, I didn't get, in this clip, I did not get the receptacle side of the plant in the picture, but you'll see that in a few minutes in slot 2 when I'm changing compartments. But let's just talk a little bit about how I'm set up here and everything and what I'm doing. Walking back to the truck, you see I'm grabbing a little short hose. A lot of companies set their trailers and their trucks with their pumps up differently. When I ran this same trailer with another company, like I've said before, my boss bought this trailer from a company I used to work for, and I used to run this trailer. The pump used to be set up by where the bucket is, right in front of the valves. But that's it did not have this pump pipe set up as you're seeing here, as I'm working with right now. You put this short hose, I believe it's a 5-foot hose, maybe a 6-foot hose. I like this setup. This is really smart setup. A lot of them will come from the factory like this. A lot of them don't. When I worked for APC, they all had it on there, and we used them and actually left the hose attached to the pump and everything. So anyway, sorry about that. Got my ham radio going on in the background, but you see I'm putting my hose from the outside, the pump side of the pump. I'm putting it on the plant, the receptacle at the plant. What we're going to do is we're going to do premium first, 93 premium, E10. And there I go, opening up the middle compartment. And you see I'm getting this hose that's attached to that aluminum pump pipe. I just leave that hose attached all the time. It makes everything go pretty quick. A lot of guys, I look, when I worked for my first company, they did something totally stupid. It was just the way I was trained, so it's the way I did it. We had trailers with those pump pipes, those aluminum pump pipes, and I would take a big old long hose and stretch it all the way down. It was totally unnecessary, but I didn't know any different. It's the way I was trained. So what I've done there, I've opened up the valve. I open up only when I open up the box and I open up the belly valve, I only open up the belly valve for what? The product I'm working on. That way you don't mess anything up. Because as you watch, now I'm going around to turn the PTO on, and you'll see the hose shake here in a second. When that hose shakes, it's on. But you see, I've got these safeguards. First of all, to make sure I'm not mixing up product, I'm going to only turn on the belly valve that is applicable to what I'm pumping right then at the time. And I'm walking back around, I'm making sure everything's turned on, making sure I got flow. And usually I didn't see myself do it right then, or did I? I'll stick my hand up that vent, make sure I'm pumping, because I have walked around for 5 or 10 minutes or gotten back in the truck, which you're not supposed to do. 10 minutes later, I realized I've not pumped anything because I didn't have something turned on. So anyway, next segment here in a second. We'll switch over to the next segment. All right, let's see what I'm going to mess up here. hopefully nothing. We're going to, I'm getting my glove. I like to mash down the clutch, standing on the side rail, mash down the clutch and disengage the PTO. It's just easier than getting all the way up in the truck and all the way out. And I use that glove to, well, just keep my hand off the clutch. So I come back. As you can see, I got the plant side in it now. And I'm just going to move it over to the next pipe from 93 to 87 E10. And they were out of gasoline. They only had 3 inches of 87 E10. They wanted me to be there an hour earlier. It wouldn't have made any difference. They run out the night before. So see what we got going on here. Yeah, I'm dropping the dust cover for that. I'm going to switch over. Going in my 3,100 gallon compartment number 1. Going to pull that. You saw me look down there. I'm looking down there to make sure I got everything hooked up. And there I go with the belly valve, and you saw the hose kind of lay down just a little bit. It's getting a little bit of weight in it. It's going all the way up to the front again. Just looking, making sure that I don't have leaks. And when I got up to the side, the reason I looked to the left is I know I got flow. If the PTO shaft is turning, even though the PTO is not engaged and turned on, it's loose enough to turn just a little bit, real slow, maybe a revolution every 2 or 3 seconds. And there I go. And I'm jumping up there. I want to make sure. I thought that thing said 3 inches, and I was like, that can't be. But the tape, what the tape does is it says 1, 2, 3, round up to 11. If it's below a foot, it just has 1, 2, 3 all the way up to 11, and then it says 1 foot. And how y'all like my clock? It's 4:59. Yeah, we will make America great again. Anyway, but what I'm doing here is trying to. I just couldn't believe that it was 3 inches. So this whole time I'm kind of making sure that it gets to a foot and it says 1 foot. It doesn't say 12. So then I get down and I go to the front and I say, hey, you got gas now. You can turn your pumps on. It made no difference when I said that. They didn't go and turn the pumps on. They didn't do anything. They didn't take the bags off the pump or the signs off the pump or anything. So anyway, here I come back around the corner after telling them to turn everything back on, which they did not. So, yeah, they had 3 inches and they run out. So I'm giving it to them. The next thing you see, it's going to be cleanup time. Time to go. So here we go with cleanup. So this is the best way I know to do this. There's probably a better way. I need to ask one of my guys that are set up the same way as this. Like I say, we got several trailers set up like this. How they drain this pipe. And you'll see this hose. You'll see what I'm saying in just a second. I disconnect that hose. Hold it up like that. Put the dust cap back on. And close the vapor off, and then I try to get the, what's in that hose out. This is the best way I know to do it. I use that valve to kind of build up some suction, suck it on out. The issue is that when you lay it back down, what's in that aluminum pipe is going to want to come out. And there I go. I see just a little bit of residual wanting to come out. But you see what I'm doing? I'm taking the dust cap on that thing. I'm trying to keep it higher than the aluminum pipe. That way, because there's some left in that pipe, maybe a half gallon or something like that. And it'd just make a mess if you don't raise it up like that. I'll take that 6-footer off. Get that off, put that away. And it's pretty straightforward. You're just doing your best to try not to, especially when you got diesel fuel. When you got gasoline, it's not that big of a deal, because if you put down even a half a gallon, even a gallon of gasoline on that concrete and the sun's out, it's going to be gone within minutes. It just doesn't matter. With diesel fuel, it's going to leave a spot. It'll eventually evaporate, but you don't want to do that. And no sense in leaving a mess when you don't have to. But constantly, like I'm picking that up right there, there'll be some residual left in there. I let it fall. The whole pump process of how, you can stick your hand over the hose and it doesn't suck it in like it's a wet vac or a vacuum or anything like that. There I go walking around turning the pump off. And the bottom side of the pump will throw a little splash of gas out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does not. This time it did. It threw just a splash of gasoline on the asphalt. Doesn't matter. It'll be gone before that truck moves. It'll be evaporated, especially on a hot sunny day. But even on a day like today where it's 50 degrees or 45 degrees, it'll be just about gone by the time I'm done. Put the dust cap back on. Put the dust cap back on the pumps and the hose. And take it off the receptacle side. It's a good business, guys. It's not that hard. I was actually, like I said earlier, I actually got trained, not really wrong, 8 years ago when I started messing around with gasoline and diesel fuel. I didn't necessarily get trained wrong. I just got trained long. And what I'm saying is you can do things different ways, and some ways are easier, some ways are harder than others. And my first trainer, well, I didn't have a second trainer. The guy that trained me, he doesn't do it that way anymore either. He didn't know any different now. He's changed companies a couple times, and he does things different. We've talked about it and laughed about some of the, crazy things we did. We used to, that big long hose I was talking about, we would drain that hose in the 5-gallon bucket. And then it was like, all right, what are you going to do with what's in the 5-gallon bucket? And sometimes we had somewhere to go with it. Sometimes we didn't. Turn off all the belly valves, close up the door, and you're done. Stick a fork in you. That's it.